Hey guys, and welcome back to Pixel Cherry Ninja's channel. So this is a video I've been trying to make for some time now, and it took a lot longer than expected. I started filming this video on a Thursday. I planned to release this on a Monday, but I think it's going to get released on Wednesday, as I'm still filming this on Monday. So I asked for your request for what games we should test on the latest Sega Saturn core by SRG 320. The latest core was released on the 15th of April 2023. It is available to work on the main MiSTer, whereas previously you needed an unstable version of the MiSTer OS. Now it works on your stable version. So if you wanted to test out this core, you can check it out. If you want to know how to do it and you're unsure of how to get this core working on your MiSTer, well, stick around to the end of the video where I'll do a step-by-step tutorial to show you exactly how you can get this up and running. Now, one thing to point out, everyone's experience on this core varies. There's some games that work for me that don't work for other people, and vice versa. I'm really trying to get Castlevania Symphony of the Night working, and I'm not having such great luck with that, but others are running it flawlessly. So anyway, I'm going to go through the list of the games that were requested. Now, I managed to get at least 90% of these done. A few might be missing from in there because either I didn't have them or I wasn't able to get those games. But the games are Mr. Bones, what you're seeing on screen now, and this actually runs okay. There's some issues with the sound from what I remember, but overall it kind of runs okay. And this is a weird game. It's like a runner game where when you get hit, like your bones actually fall off and you can pick them back up. Very, very strange game, but this was a request, so I tested it out. Then the next game, or the list of games, will be Saturn Bomberman, Astal, House of the Dead, Guardian Heroes, Shinobi X, Burning Rangers, Die Hard Arcade, Groove on Fight, Bulk Slash, Resident Evil, Virtua Fighter 2, Fighting Vipers, Fighters Megamix, Capcom 2D Fighters, so that's stuff like Street Fighter Alpha, X-Men vs Street Fighter, etc. Then here's a name I'm probably going to butcher. It's a Japanese name: Shinrei, Jusatsushi, Taromaru, Astra Superstars, Taromaru, Baku, Popoitto Hebereke. Okay, I'm really sorry with these names, guys, but I'm trying to read Japanese games spelled out in English language, and you know, words aren't my strong point. Then we're going to try out Panzer, Dragoon, Saga, then Soukyo Gurentai, Radiant Silvergun, Sonic Jam, the Japanese release of Outrun, so that's on Sega Ages, Primal Rage, and Sexy Parodius. There might be some extra games in there. I know Castlevania's in there. That might not have been requested, but it's something that I always check when I do these Saturn testing videos. Anyway, guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, a subscription and a like is super appreciated. Let's get into this video. A few of you guys in the comments actually requested Saturn Bomberman more than once, so this was one of the ones that you guys wanted seen. Now, remember, when you're testing this core for yourself, try the game a few times. The first time this game crashed for me, so you have to be a little bit persistent with it, because something that crashes the first time may work the second time, and Saturn Bomberman was an example of that. Now, the sound went, and I think just the sound effects remain. So with a lot of games, I'm finding the music, the soundtrack goes, but the sound effects remain. So it's playable and you can try it out now. I tried Astal. Now, Astal worked for me previously. I got into game, it crashed once the game began, and I was a little bit into the game, like a minute or two into the game. But this time I had no joy. It just didn't work. I tried it multiple times. Astal didn't work for me. It just kept going into a black screen after this Sega logo. The original House of the Dead. This game's been requested a few times, and I've been lucky with it. It always works for me. Now, I don't have a light gun or anything for the Saturn, but I don't think light gun support is available yet. But surprisingly, this actually kind of plays okay on a D-pad. It reminds me of my days playing Operation Wolf on a Commodore 64. But this works for me. The sound effects are there, but like a lot of the other games, the actual music, the soundtrack goes, but the sound effects remain. So House of the Dead, if you want to play it on a pad, you can actually play quite a bit through it. I got fairly far in it while testing it out for this video. I'm not using anywhere near the footage that I captured, but House of the Dead, yeah, we're doing good on the latest build. Let's have a look at Guardian Heroes. Now, I had no success with Guardian Heroes. It kind of boots up, we get past the Sega logo, we get a little bit of the intro, and then the game just crashes for me. Here we go, it's crashed. Next up, guys, I tried Shinobi X. Now, this game was working for me on previous builds, but on this build, it just didn't work for me. I kept just getting the black screen. Now, for most of these games, I tried different variations. I tried the 4 megabytes of RAM, the 2 megabytes of RAM, no RAM. I messed around with it quite a lot, but this is what I got for Shinobi X. Guys, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I tried all the different versions of it. I tried the vanilla version. I tried the fan translated version. I tried like the hacked version with the 4 megabyte RAM usage. I tried everything. And guys, I've tried this game off camera in testing, honestly, no less than, I would say, like 300 to 400 times now. It does sound a little bit obsessive, but I am a big Castlevania fan, and it's just something I really would like to play. Now, I tried it, and where I get to is I get to the title screen, and when I run it, like, so one thing here, did you notice the music stopped? If the music stops on this part, it won't work. That's what I found. If the music is still playing, the background music at this part, and when I'm picking the character, it will launch into the game. The 2 times I've gotten into the game, but this is what I got. It just crashes for me. I can't get into the game. Really, it worked twice out of 300 to 400 attempts, but that's it. I've given up now until a new update comes out. Now let's have a look at Burning Rangers. I'm pretty sure this worked for me on a previous build. I could be wrong, but in my head, I think I got this up and running. And this time it kind of gets to here, then it goes into a black screen. Again, multiple attempts and I was getting the same result. So this might work for others, I'm not sure, but this is what I got when I tried it. Now, this here is a fun game. This has worked for me from the very first time I tried the Saturn core, and even every update after that. I'm glad you guys asked for this to be tested, because this is a fun beat 'em up. I intend to kind of play through this at one time. Maybe I'll do a live stream or something, but Die Hard Arcade works, and it's a decent beat 'em up. I remember when the jump from kind of 2D to 3D came, and there were like more polygon based games. There are a few beat 'em ups that were out like this, but this game is actually quite fun. So the Die Hard arcade game, if you're running the Saturn core for the first time, do try this. I'm pretty sure this can be completed, even though I haven't completed it myself, but it's a fun little brawler. This game here is a game called Bulk Slash. Thank you so much, whoever actually recommended this for testing, because I don't think I ever knew of this game, and man, does this game look cool. You turn into a robot, you turn into a spaceship, you fly around, you shoot stuff, and for like an early kind of 3D-ish polygon game, wow, it really does look good. I like the colors, I like how the game feels, and this is before we had like dual analog stick control. So in order to rotate, you use the shoulder buttons, which I think works really well on the Saturn. This game worked for me, it ran for me, but it crashed. Just like you're seeing here, well timed. It crashed, and that's pretty much as far as I got. Now, this might work for you, it might not crash for you, it might crash at other parts. It may even work for me if I tried it again, but it boots up. Do try it out and let me know what your experience is. Another game that was mentioned a few times was Resident Evil, a favorite game of mine, and I was happy to test it out, but unfortunately for me, it starts booting up and it just goes into a black screen. So for me, it just doesn't work at the moment. If it does work for you, I'm really interested in knowing if it does work for you, because like I said, what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. But this is where I got to a black screen. I tried a few different things, I reset it, through different combos, but yeah, Resident Evil just wasn't happening. Another game that popped up more than once was Virtua Fighter 2. And guys, do let me know in the comments below, but this felt to me like it was running full speed. Now, I'm not a VF player. I like the game, but I don't think I'm skilled enough to learn this game, or some of the later ones. I've always dabbled with it. I've always played it. Whenever I play fighting games, I try and play them like Street Fighter. So if there's Street Fighter, I'm not too bad. If there's anything else, I'm bad. But yeah, this runs really good. There's some like graphical stuff with it, and there's crackly sound. I've got the sound turned fairly low, and the sound levels are different, and it's quite tough doing it for all the videos, but you might be able to get some of it coming through. It's quite crackly. A friend of the channel's Adventure Taco actually posted over on the Discord that turning off one of the sound options, the second one down in the debug menu, actually makes the sound better. And I did do that after testing a few videos, but this game has issues with sounds, but it's playable, it's fun, and honestly it felt good to me. The Saturn core is coming along nicely, and if you're a VF player and you want to play it, check it out, and definitely let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Okay, sticking to the fighting games, this is Fighting Vipers. This is a game I messed around and I played with. I think there was a different version of this out on the Dreamcast, but you can't not like this game. It's a decent game. Difficult, a bit of a learning curve to where I didn't really know what I was doing, but it works. Now, on the previous builds, I remember this slowing down soon after it starts. So it was slowing down to the point of might have only been producing like 20 frames per second, but this looks like it's running full speed to me. The graphics look a little bit off. I think that thing, maybe, I can't remember what it's called. Is it called dithering? You know, I'm not the most technical guy out there, but as far as playing goes, this game was feeling okay. There was issues with the sound. The sounds were a bit low. And yeah, the sound's far from perfect, but as far as gameplay goes, it felt okay. Next up is Fighters Megamix. Again, a pleasure to test this out. Now, this feels like it's running okay. Again, there's issues with the sound like there are with many of the games on the Saturn. Now, if you don't like this game, then go down below and hit that unsubscribe button. If you're not already subscribed, then cool, you don't need to do anything. But if you're subscribed and you don't like this game, we can't be friends. How can you not like a beat 'em up where you're like this big massive bear attacking this thing? This runs okay, and the Saturn core is making good progress. Test this game out. Let me know what your favorite character is in this game. For those of you that requested the Capcom beat 'em ups, well, let's go through all the alpha games. Street Fighter Alpha 1 crashes at logo. Street Fighter Alpha 2 crashes on the logo as well. And to my surprise, I was not expecting this. Street Fighter Alpha 3 worked for me. It played okay, it felt okay. The thing that happened, you can hear the background music a bit. It will just stop. It randomly stops and it randomly starts. The sound effects remain, but the actual background music for the stages goes in. This kind of felt alright. This is something I might try out in a bit, because it has like a world tour mode that seemed similar to what was available on the Game Boy Advance, if I remember correctly, or like the PlayStation version. If memory serves me correct. I'm just waiting for the music to kind of die out. So the music remained for the stage up until the end of the first round or the beginning of the second, where here you go. The soundtrack, the music died. I still had the sound effects. The sound effects were working, but then later on, this happened. It just started to go really, really slow. You see it now. The slowdown will come in. I played this game a little bit because, hey, I like Street Fighter. And for a second there, I thought, I'm so good at Street Fighter, I'm actually seeing it in slow motion like the Matrix. But that definitely wasn't the case. The game just slowed down. I did have fun for the amount of time that I played it, and this happened. Now, again, I didn't revisit the game. I moved on to the next game. It's possible this just may have been a one-off. You may be able to get all the way through it. Again, interested in your comments if you've played it, if you've tested it, what your experience is. But yeah, at least for me, it worked. Then the backing soundtrack went, and then after that, it just started to slow down. So here I was, I thought, yes, I got lucky. So this is the first time I got one of the CPS2 games, or one of the Capcom fighting games, working on the Saturn. So I thought, yes, let's now try X-Men versus Street Fighter. And this is what I got, a black screen. I tried it a few times, I tried different combos, I messed around, but all I got was this black screen. Okay, so this game here, there is no sound. It plays okay. It plays fine as far as I know. Now, I haven't played the original. I never even heard of this game. So a special thank you out to whoever requested this to be tested. Because of you, I found this somewhat of an awesome game. So this game is called Shinrei Jusatsushi Taromaru. Hopefully I got that correct. And it's really nice to find these games. Now, the controls are a little bit unusual, to say the very least. I definitely wasn't used to them. You're kind of like a ninja. You look at it, you think Shinobi style game, but you've got like this kind of aiming thing, and you kind of lock on. It's difficult, it's chaotic, but you know what? This game is kind of fun. Now, around the time of the Saturn, there wasn't an industry standard for controls. Like, there was so many different control schemes out there. You could go and play 10 different games and you'd end up with 10 different control schemes. And this one is a prime example of that. Definitely will take a little bit of getting used to, but man, this game, it feels kind of cool. It has a cool look about it. So once again, thanks for recommending this. This was definitely a nice surprise. It plays, but no sound. Guys, the next game is Astra Superstars. Now, the game kind of works okay. Again, like, there's bits with a graphic where they kind of, the colors kind of fade off and there's like a ghost effect after. Now, the sound like starts again like it does with a lot of the other games, and it just kind of disappears and goes. That's the music and the soundtracks. Now, this is some weird game. Like, I like my fighting games, but this reminds me of those Dragon Ball Z games. I never really played them, but I remember one on the SNES where you're kind of like floating about and doing all your fighting stuff. This definitely looks like an interesting game. Do let me know your thoughts about this, if this is something you played. I never heard of Astra Superstars. I think I may have had this on my MiSTer already, and I may have tried it. It may not have worked on the previous build. It's working now. It feels kind of okay, but definitely a weird game. I don't know how to play these games, but I have to say it looks very, very cool. This game here is called Baku, and again, I want to thank the person that requested this. I never heard of it. You know, I'm a Tetris fan. I like puzzle games somewhat, especially Tetris. Tetris is like my favorite puzzle game. Nothing will ever top it, but this is very original. This is very, very good. It's where you put down like the bone, a banana, a bamboo shoot, and a carrot, and when you get a bunny, the bunny eats the carrot, the monkey eats the banana, and the panda eats the bamboo shoot, and the dog eats the bone. Very, very original, very, very wacky. But guys, this is a really good game, and this overall ran okay. The sound wasn't perfect, but it was okay. But again, I'm not coming from a background where I played these games, so I can give an accurate comparison. At least for me, it played well. I played it for quite a bit, and it's very, very interesting. I never knew a puzzle game like this existed. I found it because of you guys requesting it, and I wasn't disappointed. This is a very, very good puzzle game. Here's a game that a lot of you guys requested, Panzer Dragoon Saga. It was mentioned many times. I tried it on previous builds. It didn't work for me, but it was working on this build. And yeah, I never really played this game. Panzer Dragoon for me was always like the dragon flying game, the action game. So this is like an RPG game, and I tested it out. Again, controls took a little bit of getting used to, but it weren't too difficult to get your well, at least to get my head around. And honestly, this game is kind of okay. So it's got like your turn-based battles. You've got like different attacks. So I guess if you're a big fan of the Panzer Dragoon series, this is something you may have played, or maybe something you wish to play. I generally thought this was okay. You get to fly around. You've got your turn-based battles. It seems like there's a little bit of exploration in there. But on the whole, this game ran okay all the way through. Again, issues with the sound, a lot of crackle around. But it didn't crash. I played this game while testing this video for maybe about 30 minutes in total. It just ran. So maybe if this is something you want to play, you can test it out now. Let me know in the comments below what your experience with this is. You know, if this is a game you want to play, how far did you get into it? Now, I only tested, like I said, the first 30 minutes or so. It ran okay for me. Let me know if it runs okay for you, if you can get further into this game. I don't know if you'll get a chance to complete this game quickly, as usually RPGs are quite long games, but it's so nice to see that this game is actually running, because I know a lot of you guys like this. You always talk about this in the comments. And I guess this is a game, yeah, loved by many. So the next game we tried is Soukyo Gurentai. This was a request, but as soon as I got to the EA, or back then as they were better known, Electronic Arts, that's it. Black screen, crash, no further. Again, like with most of the other stuff, I tried it a few times, I tried a few variations, but yeah, it didn't load for me. Radiant Silvergun. Now, I tried this before. It ran for me. If I remember correctly, it had like graphical glitches, yeah, at least it loaded for me, and then it might have crashed. Something happened, but I do remember getting into this game. On this occasion, all I got was a black screen. It would not load for me on this version of the core. Some of you guys requested Sonic Jam. So there wasn't much wrong with this. there was some of the text missing when you're like picking a game. Or here we go, like going through the menu, some of the text was missing, but I could kind of work out what it was there. But I was able to get into the game. The first games that I picked, I'm not showing it here on camera, but they were like bonus games. So I guess you can pick the bonus games from the Sega games on this. That's where I got to. But in the end, I decided to go for Sonic 1. And judge for yourself. Like, I was always more of a Mario player. I did play Sonic on the Mega Drive, but this seemed to be running okay for me. So if Sonic Jam is your jam, well, you can jam with Sonic Jam. Let's now try Outrun, which was a Sega Ages game for the Sega Saturn. Now, yeah, I was getting kind of happy. The Sega logo came up. I saw the lovely Outrun car, and I like those graphics. It reminds me a lot of like the magazines from around that era. But this is where we got to, guys. We got to the Sega logo, and this is where we got stuck. Primal Rage. Now, this was a game, I was never the biggest fan of it, but recently I saw some combo videos that actually made this game look decent. No sound for it, but I wanted to try it out. Now, I remember seeing this game in the arcade actually, and wow, seeing this in the arcade looked really good at the time, but it's not something we can see on our Saturn. At least for me, when I loaded it, I got happy at the character select screen, but then, yeah, this is as far as I could get. Black screen again after the character select screen. Okay guys, this is the final game we're testing. This was requested by me for me to test out because I love Parodius, and hey, I love sexy Parodius. Look at that, you've got sheep, you've got goats running around and you're shooting them as a massive blob that can actually transform into different characters out of the game. At least that's how I worked it out. But yeah, here we are. He's riding a paper aeroplane with a little blob on it. This game is fantastic. Now, if you want to get this core up and running for yourself, straight after the footage for this game ends, the tutorial will begin. And I'll show you exactly how you can get this core working. You can try it out yourself. Now, remember, mileage will vary because something that worked for me may not work for you. Something that crashed for me may not crash for you. Something might last longer for you. The sound might be better. Honestly, there's so many different changes. Like when I'm speaking on the Discord, stuff's working for other people. It's just crazy, you know, the results everyone's getting. But this core is an unstable core. It works on the stable builder MiSTer, but it is a work in progress core. Big shout out to SRG320. Absolutely love his work. You know, given his current situation, he's still producing stuff and bringing us excellent stuff. Now, this video took me a few days. So if at the tutorial, which is at the end, I filmed that like a few days before, and then I just kind of compiled the footage and done it. It actually did take me quite some time. So this video now is due out to be Wednesday. Ignore what I say in the tutorial about it being released on Monday. It's going to be a Wednesday release. And if another core comes out in between that time, then hey, another core comes out, I'll do another updated video. But anyway, guys, let's head over to the tutorial now. If you're still here on this part of the video, it means only one thing. It means you want to get the Saturn core up and running for yourself. So first thing you want to do, have a look at the description of this video. I'll leave a link to the MiSTer Discord. And once you're on the MiSTer Discord, head over to Unstable Nightlies. Now, one thing I always say, I'm providing a link. So when you go over there, be nice, be cool, and feel free to tag me and say hello. But once you're there anyway, go to Unstable Nightlies and then just head on over to the 15th of April, because that's the last, or at least at the time of shooting this video, this was the last update, the 15th of April 2023. So you've got the dual RAM version and you've got the single SD RAM version. So let's download the single SD RAM version. Now, the really good thing about this is this works on MiSTer main. You don't need an unstable version of MiSTer anymore. It just works on the main one. So before you do any of this, just make sure you hit update all and you are running the latest MiSTer OS. Once you do that, then do these steps. But here you go, that's our download over here. So let's just copy that and let's go over. So this is the root of my MiSTer micro SD card. And what I'm going to do is go over to console and just paste the core in here. That's where it goes. The core is always an RBF file. As you can see, there's lots and lots of RBF files in here. So that's what you want to do. Now, in regard to games, if you head over to your games folder, make sure you've got a folder called Saturn. If there's not one there already, then just create one. I think I created my one, and put all your Saturn games in here. Whatever you've got, put your games in here. And this is the general format I've got, Q and bin files. So grab your Saturn files, put them in there. And this is also where you place your BIOS files. I've got a few BIOS files. They're usually at the bottom. You want to rename the BIOS file boot.rom. That's how it will pick it up. It doesn't matter what region you go for. Obviously, it's important to select the correct region when you're running the game, but honestly, any BIOS will do. I know a lot of people have success with the highest Saturn BIOS. BIOS, and also the Japanese version 1.01, which I think is the one that I'm using here. I've got some others named there like old in case I want to swap between them, but for what you saw in the video, I was using the Japanese 101 version. And honestly guys, that's really it. It's just great. You don't need an unstable build. It works on your main build. Update it, run it, and honestly it's cool. Saturn's such a fun system. I don't know much about it. I'm learning more about it while covering it on the MiSTer, and it seems to be getting better. Guys, if someone ever said to you that will happen when pigs can fly, well, show them this game, because in this game pigs can fly. And guys, that really is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the Saturn testing. If a new version of the core is released, I'll probably make another community post. I'll just make sure I've got a bit more time when I do it, so I'm not stretching it over a few days. I'll try and do it when I've got a day through, and we'll test out some other games. But look at this. The boss, you've got a corn that is chucking out popcorn at you. Like, how much better can you get? Honestly, what a fantastic game. But guys, that's really it. Thank you as always for watching. Thank you for your time. If you're not subscribed, then a subscription and a like, all that good stuff is super appreciated. I'll see you guys in the next video. This is Pixel Cherry Ninja out.